Hey guys, this is Mashi from Mashi Toots. Tonight we want to speak about 5 advantages that you have if you write your website in English rather than in another language. So let's say you just start a new blog and you're wondering if it would be better for you to write your content in English or maybe in your mother language, which could be something else like French or German, for example. This is actually a very important question that everybody that starts a new website should think about for some time, because this can have a very big impact on your earnings, for example. And that's why now I would like to talk about 5 reasons why I think it would be good for you to write your content in English. The first big reason is that if you have your content in English, you can basically reach the whole world with your content. So let's say you're in a small niche, and one problem you can have there if you're not writing in English is that the amount of people that you can reach every month will be very limited. So the traffic on your website is maybe very small. Even if you have very good content, maybe you can only reach a few hundred or a few thousand people a month. And that, on the other hand, that can give you some problems with monetization. So maybe your niche is not easy to monetize. So for example, if you just want to use ads, for example, and you can only reach a few hundred people every month, chances are that with that you just can't really create enough money if that's your goal, if you want to get some revenue with ads, for example. So having your website in English will obviously help you to reach more people, and many topics are interesting for people all over the world. So why limit yourself and write in another language than English? And like this, just your website will just not be understandable for a lot of people. So the first reason why you should choose English for your website is that you can reach the whole world with it. The second reason why having a website in English is very valuable is that you can actually target the US market specifically. And why that is so important, I would like to show you. I have a website about languages. It's called linguaholic.com. And here on the screen you see a screenshot from you see the dashboard from my ad network called EZOIC that I'm using to earn revenue from displaying ads on my website. And here you can see many interesting things. First of all, here we have a list with different countries, and then you can see how many visits I have from those countries, how many page views, and so on and so forth. And one interesting thing you can see here is that from 5,000 visits, that is, I think this is in a period of a week. From those 5,000 visits I had in that week, from within the US, I created $57 revenue, which is obviously pretty nice. And now you can compare this to visitors that I had from the Philippines, for example. I had 1,700 visitors from the Philippines, and this was only worth $7. So there's a big difference. Like if you compare the visitors from Philippines and from the US, I earned $57, and from those people from the Philippines I earned only $7. And that difference, you can actually see it here in the EPMB. This metric here will give you how much you earned for 1,000 visitors, or the amount earned for every 1,000 visits to a site for the time period. And here you can see that those visits from the US are just so much, are worth much more than visits from the Philippines. And that is why, if you have a website in English, you should make sure, if you can, to target the US market. Obviously, that's not always possible if you're writing about something specifically in France, maybe you can't target the US market with that, but there are also other topics where the traffic could potentially come from the whole world, and there it always makes sense to focus on the US if possible. Because, to put it simply, the ad revenue and also other monetization methods, it's always best to have the traffic from the US, because you will get the most money out of it. With ads, a click from someone who's browsing your website from the United States is always worth more than if somebody browses your website from other countries like Philippines or India. Usually what you earn for every visitor is much lower, and every click is worth less. So this is definitely something you should think about. Other good countries apart from the United States are Canada, United Kingdom is pretty good, Australia, and also Germany. Usually much worse is India or some country like the Philippines, for example. So before you even start the website, you should think about where your traffic will come from and where you would like to, which is the market you would like to focus. That's the second big reason you should try to write your content in English if you can. The third reason why it makes sense to have your website in English is that if you're working on a website using something like, let's say, WordPress, like I'm using here from my hand luggage website. I'm just here in the dashboard of my one of my websites is another website here about languages. And obviously here you have a lot of plugins that you can install and a lot of free plugins. And if your website is in English, it's just easier to find all the plugins that you need, because most of those plugins they are in English. And if your website is in another language, you can still use most of the plugins, but some of them maybe don't work properly or need some customization. This is not only true for plugins, but also for themes, for example. So many themes that you can buy on a place like themeforest.com, the standard version is obviously in English, and if you want to have the contents in German, sometimes they provide a file and you can easily switch, but maybe some contents are not translated yet and you will need to customize. You will need to translate these things manually, for example, and you just need it will need some additional work in some cases. So obviously, as English is the dominant language for these kind of technical related things, plugins and themes, it's easiest to have that stuff in English. That was number 3, why having a website in English is a great thing, and often easier to manage and more profitable in the long run. The fourth reason why your website should be written in English is something that I already mentioned at the beginning of this video, and that is that if your website is in English, you can earn more money with ads, and more specifically, you can more easily get into different ad networks. The thing here is even that a lot of the best paying ad networks are not even available if you don't have content in English, and that is actually a big problem. You can use something like Google AdSense, for example, no matter what the language of your website is. That is going to work, and you can fill out the form on the Google AdSense website, and they will accept that. But others, like other big ad networks, like for example MediaWine, which is an amazing ad network, which I can highly recommend. You can only use that if your content is in English. The funny thing is that is not what MediaWine will tell you. If you go to their website and you will check, if you check the requirements, they don't specifically say that if your website is not in English you can't apply. And you can apply if you have, let's say, a French website or a German website. But in almost all of the cases, your application will not be successful, because they will simply say that, yeah, they won't name it like this, but I'm pretty sure that the reason in many cases is just because the website is written in another language, and they will tell you that, yeah, your website is hard to monetize, and they beat a lot around the bush, but the actual reason is often that, yeah, it's just simply not profitable for them if your website is not in English. I experienced that myself with my hand luggage website that I had in German, and was actually very successful. And other networks that I applied, I could get in, and I could also earn good money. But with MediaWine, they wouldn't allow me to join the network. There's another good ad provider that you can use if you have about 100,000 page views a month, which is AdThrive, and there it's exactly the same. You have no chance to enter that network if your website is not in English, and that's actually quite frustrating, because earning money with ads can be very profitable for many websites. This is the biggest income stream, is actually ads. So if you go to the AdThrive website, in the FAQs, here you can even see that under who is eligible for AdThrive, you can see that they write very clearly here that the majority of traffic is US based. So, and yeah, if your website is in German, then most likely the majority of your traffic is not from the US. That's just obvious. So that's another thing to keep in mind. This is a very big reason, and maybe a reason that you didn't know. A lot of people don't know that, because that's generally something that you will just that will just happen to understand when it's already too late, after 2 years, when you suddenly want to monetize your website, and then you're searching for these ad networks, and then you will maybe find out that it's that you only have a few choices, and yeah, that's that you are very limited in your choices. So that was number 4, why you should have your website in English. The last reason, the 5th reason why I think you should have your website in English is something pretty similar. Also, if you would like to monetize your website with affiliate marketing, then you will have like similar problems than with ads. Affiliate marketing, if you're not familiar with that, it's just let's say that that you're doing some product reviews on your website, and you're linking to someone like Amazon, and if a visitor comes to your website and they will click that link for Amazon, they will buy on Amazon, you will earn a commission for that. That's what a lot of people are doing, and like this, a lot of people can earn quite some money by just sending people to different websites, and when they buy something, they will earn a small commission, about maybe 5 to 10%. And if you have thousands of people visiting your website, this can also be quite lucrative. But there again, if your website is not in English, you will have like less opportunities to earn this kind of money, because some services maybe are just not available, or a lot of those brands, maybe they will just offer that for not on markets that are outside of the US. Amazon, for example, you can use that if you are in a country that has Amazon, then you can use that. So, for example, in Germany, you can use Amazon DE instead of US. But there as well, probably Amazon in Germany is much smaller than in the US. And even if you're in Germany, you can very well have a .com domain, and you can target the US market, and you can send people to Amazon US, and when they buy something there, you can get that money too. It doesn't mean that you have to be in the US. So then like that, it still makes more sense often, because Amazon is obviously huge in the US and not that big in Germany or other countries. So there you go. Those were the 5 reasons why having your website in English is the way to go for you. One last thing I would like to mention is that if you don't have your website in English, so maybe you have seen that video, but you already took the choice and have a website in French, and you still would like to monetize your website with ads, I recommend you to use EZOIC, because this ad platform pays pretty well, and they will also accept websites that are not written in English. So at the moment, I really think EZOIC is the best choice for having ads on your website if your website is not in English, for sure. I put the link for EZOIC in the description, and check it out, and you can subscribe for EZOIC. If you have Google AdSense, for example, you can still register for EZOIC, because this is more like a platform and not really a network that is based on artificial intelligence, and you will be able to embed your Google AdSense ads, and they also have other partners and other benefits that will help you to earn much more from your ads that you already have, and you will be able to set up even more ads. And when I changed from Google AdSense to EZOIC, this helped me to more than double my income every month. So that's definitely something worth checking out. I hope that you enjoyed the video, guys. Please subscribe if you did, and talk to you soon in another video. Have a nice day. Bye.